All right, this is the Solving Inequalities number 2 homework. All right, take a look at the first one. It says 7 plus z is less than 12. So I'm going to put my line down at the inequality sign like we used to for equations. And in order to get the z by itself, I need to get rid of the 7. So since there's no sign in front of the 7, that means I assume it's positive. So to do the opposite would be to subtract 7 on both sides, because 7 minus 7 would give me the 0. So on this side I'm left with z, the less than symbol comes down, and 12 minus 7 is 5. All right, so if we want to quick show the graph of that, I would put my 5 in the middle. That's going to be an open circle. And the values that make that inequality true would be, well, let's stick a 3 in. If I have 3 is less than 5, that makes the inequality true. So my arrow would point to the left. All right, take a look at the second one. Same thing, line down at the inequality sign. I would do the opposite of subtract 23, which would be to add 23 to both sides. All right, and I think you guys can solve that one from there. Let's take a look at the third one. Right now, when you see a number right next to a letter or a variable, that means those two things are being multiplied. So the r is being multiplied by 4. So the opposite of multiply by 4 is to divide by 4 on both sides. So the 4's would reduce, and I would be left with r is less than or equal to 2. All right, let's jump down to this one. I have t divided by 4 is greater than or equal to 12. Well, right now my t is being divided by 4. So the opposite of divide by 4 would be to multiply by 4. Okay, when we do that, the 4's reduce and I'm left with t greater than or equal to 12 times 4 would be 48. All right, so take a look here. I think you guys can do this one. You're just looking at what's the opposite of plus 12. Same thing here. I think you guys can do this one. You're going to try and get y by itself, so you're going to do the opposite of subtract 6 on both sides. All right, let's flip it to the back. All right, now the first one up at the top, these are all multi-step or two-step inequalities. So for the first one, remember you're always going to add or subtract first, then you're going to multiply or divide. So in the first inequality, I'm going to go to the adding or subtracting. So in this one it's plus 5. The opposite would be to subtract 5 on both sides. That would leave me with 3 times r is greater than 26 minus 5 would be 21. Now my r is being multiplied by 3, so the opposite would be to divide by 3 on both sides. 3's reduce, and r would be greater than 7. All right, if you are doing the second one, when you have a number outside of parentheses, that tells me that I'm going to distribute. Distribute means you're going to multiply times each term inside the parentheses. So 3 times y would be 3y. I would bring the subtraction sign down, and then I would do 3 times 4, which is 12. And that is less than 48. Then it becomes a problem just like the one up above, where I look for the adding or subtracting, and I do the opposite of that. So I would add 12 to both sides. I would have 3 times y is less than 60. Then to get my y by itself, I do the opposite of times 3, which is to divide by 3. So I would have y is less than 20. All right, so the third one down, this one's a little bit tricky because there's some combining like terms. And when you have a variable, to make it a little bit easier, you can always put a 1 in front of it. This becomes 4r minus 1r would be 3 times r. My inequality sign would come down, 45 comes down. These are being multiplied, so I would have to do the opposite, which is divide by 3, and you guys should be able to get a final answer when you divide 45 by 3. Okay, and your last one, this is just one step, trying to get r by itself. It's being divided by 4, so you need to show the multiplication on both sides. And r would be less than or equal to, I'll let you guys divide that out, 16 times 4.